Okay. Chapter 13, The Unicorn King. He wasn't wearing a crown, but the way he held his head high, Pearl knew she was looking at the Unicorn King. He stood at the bottom of the hill, a blaze of white against the green forest background. He was as large as the draft horses Pearl had seen in the Milkdale Country Fair. His neck and legs were thick with muscles, and his glossy mane looked like it was made of silk threads. His spiral horns sparkled as if it had been dipped in white glitter. He flared his nostrils and sniffed the air, and then he looked up at them and stomped his front hoof. Dr. Wu turned to Pearl and Ben. "Remain here and keep still. Any sudden movement might spook him." She removed her creature calculator from her pocket and carefully walked down the slope. Pearl pressed her shoulder against Ben. "This is so amazing," she whispered. "Unbelievable," he agreed. Once Dr. Wu had reached the king, she placed her palms together and bowed. He dipped his head in return. Then, holding her creature calculator, Dr. Wu began to speak, but the kids could not make out the words. The Unicorn King nodded and then raised his upper lip and neighed. Dr. Wu read from the calculator. "It must be translating," Ben said. "I thought unicorns would talk, the way Metalmouth does." Pearl fidgeted with one of the buttons on her lab coat. She could barely sit still. The king snorted. Both he and Dr. Wu bowed, and then he turned and disappeared back into the forest. Oh, we've got a little visitor back there. Hi, Finn. Hey, you listening to the story? Good boy. Dr. Wu walked back up the hill. "What's going on?" Pearl asked. "What did he say?" "It's bad news, I'm afraid. The youngest member of the Blessing has gone missing." She wandered off into the darkest section of the woods, and that is especially dangerous. The Blessing is forbidden to enter that area, so they are unable to search for her. "Why would she wander off?" Ben asked. "Something must have made her curious," Dr. Wu said. Pearl frowned. "Or someone." Dr. Wu picked up her medical bag. "We must not jump to conclusions. A doctor must always assess the situation with logic. I have told the king that we will do our very best. The dark forest awaits." "Huh? Are you saying that we're going to go in there?" Ben asked. "If it's too dangerous for unicorns, isn't it too dangerous for people?" "Ben Silverstein," Dr. Wu said patiently, "I will never force you to do something that makes you feel uncomfortable. You do not have to accompany us. You can stay here on the hill and wait until we return. But Pearl," and she placed her hand on Pearl's shoulder, "I need your help. The foal will only feel safe with a young girl. Will you go with me?" "Yes, of course I will go with you," said Pearl, jutting out her chin. She was just so glad that Dr. Wu hadn't listed all the dangers that lurked in the dark forest, or Pearl might have changed her mind. So Dr. Wu and Pearl headed down the hill. Halfway, Pearl glanced back over her shoulder. Ben stood there at the top, a big frown on his face, the breeze blowing the hem of his lab coat. It was too bad he wasn't going with them, but she understood. Ben didn't like dangerous stuff. "Hey, wait!" he called, and then he started running down the hill. Pearl smiled as he caught up. "Don't do that to my pillow." "I want to help." Dr. Wu stopped at the forest edge, where the grass ended and the thick undergrowth began. "Very well, but remember what I told you." And with a very serious tone, she added, "Do not eat or touch anything without asking me first, Our plan is this. We will make our way through the tangled forest until we reach the dark wall. We enter the dark forest to begin our search, and finally we invade predators and find the unicorn foal. Predators? Ben said. Dr. Wu patted his shoulder. Focus on the goal, Ben, which is the dark wall, and be as quiet as possible. She gripped her medical bag. Pearl took a deep breath. Quiet was not something that came easily to her. Whoever had named the Tangle Forest chose well, for there was no path. The undergrowth of ferns and vines was knit as tightly as one of Aunt Gladys' blankets. How were they going to get through without a machete or a weed whacker? Pearl wished she wore jeans like Ben so that her legs would be protected from scratches. But then she stopped worrying because when Dr. Wu took a step, the branches and the ferns moved aside as if welcoming her. "Whoa," Ben said. As the doctor took another step and then another, the forest bowed, creating a narrow pathway. Dr. Wu motioned for her apprentices to follow. Pearl darted in front of Ben, but just as she took her first step, the undergrowth bent back into place, blocking her way, and Dr. Wu disappeared from sight.